Hi, I'm Mitch Gallagher. Welcome to the Sweetwater Minute. We have a special guest with us today. Jamie Kent is here.
Hey,
Great to
man.
see you, man.
Good to be
Sorry,
here.
I interrupted your science.
Oh, no. This is awesome. Yeah, I'm just a spaz. Yeah.
Oh, that's fine.
Yeah. All right.
So we're glad to have you here.
Oh, it's good to be here.
You're
man.
doing a workshop in the studios, correct?
Yeah, we're in there doing a master class. We're recording an EP, and we just knocked out 5 songs in a day, and it's pretty exciting. Beautiful studio in there, working with Mark Hornsby. He's a man, and it's awesome.
Awesome, and you have an audience while you're doing the whole process of
Yeah,
recording.
it's cool. It's cool. Yeah, we have a little focus group where we come in, and as insecure musicians, we walk in. Was that song okay? You like it? Yeah. Okay.
Like you say, built in a focus group. That's kind of nice.
And Mark just deadpans.
Which he's great at.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
So 5 songs, man. That's moving fast.
Yeah. That's right. We're a pretty tight band. We're on the road 150 days a year, so we get to road test songs first and go out there, see what songs people are liking, and then come into the studio. And I kind of like that old approach of coming in with a batch of songs and just pressing record and capturing that sound.
Right.
And I think that's what Mark was looking for too. So it's kind of a cool collaboration.
Mm-hmm. Right. Do you find that having the people there watching, the aspiring engineers, if you will, and producers, does that change the way that you approach producing the songs?
A little bit. It maybe causes me to explain things a little bit more in the process, but overall, I just I'm used to kind of people playing for people, having people around, and being a part of it, and so it's just kind of fun and exciting. And we got a little dude in there too who's learning at a young age, and that's kind of exciting to see what our influence could be on someone who's just really in that phase of life of like, this could be what I want to do for the rest of my life, 'Cause I remember being that age, and I can't imagine being able to sit in a studio and be a part of a record like this when I was 10. That'd be amazing.
What an amazing opportunity.
Yeah, seriously.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Man, you've had some pretty substantial success here. Number 16 on the Billboard charts with All American Mud on the debut, right?
Yep.
Are you the only independent artist that's hit that spot?
Yeah, that I'm aware of, which is pretty cool. At least in that time frame. I'm sure it's happened at some point along the years, so I can't say with 100% certainty. But in recent history, that's all I know, and it's pretty exciting. We were able to do that because we got a strong fan base. We had a goal. We rallied behind it. People spread the word, and they bought CDs, and it was kind of crazy too, because in a world where everyone is streaming, 80% of our albums that sold to get us there were physical, not download. Wow. So that's kind of cool. There's still, it's all about that connection to fans, and as an independent artist, that's what we're trying to go after and grow this thing together.
So as an independent artist, then are you selling those? Are people ordering those? Are they buying them at gigs, or how are you distributing the CD?
Yeah, both. I have a pretty cool store on my site. I work with a company called Indie Music Sales, and they've created a way to make it so I have my own iTunes basically, so that I can sell all my downloads on my site and keep everything in-house, which pretty much hasn't existed until now, that's a cool opportunity. And then the rest of it's at shows. We did a big pre-order campaign for a few months, and then we just go out there. And I think the thing about whether or not you stream or listen to CDs, a CD still is a connection to someone. You get to sign it. It's a tangible memory of a show, memory of that thing. And so that's really why I think people might think we're moving super fast towards streaming, and we probably are, but CDs are still going to have a place for a while. I think that's it.
Right. And you're on the road a lot. You did like 200 gigs last year, is that right?
Yeah. Somewhere between 150 and 2. I kind of lose count. But we're road dogs. We love it. We're kind of built for it, and we've had some cool opportunities. We got to spend a lot of time on the road with Huey Lewis and the News this last year, and those guys treat us really well. And they actually played on our record as well, which was kind of cool. So,
nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So that was actually your second record. Your first was Embers and Ashes, which was an EP, right?
Yep,
7-song EP.
Yep, exactly.
And you've got a 3-song EP that you put out recently, right?
Yep. Yeah, exactly. We did an EP of 90s covers, 90s pop jams, I'll say, done through an Americana filter. And we were sitting in the van. When you're on the road as much as we are, we have long 10, 12-hour stretches of road where eventually we start to lose our mind. And in those phases of losing your mind, you come up with all sorts of ideas, and usually they're ridiculous and don't stick. But at one point, I think we were listening to a 90s playlist, and we thought, man, this Britney Spears song is a great song. what if we put a banjo and upright bass on there instead? and then we got a call from a friend who had an extra day of studio time at Blackbird, and we had just finished recording our other record. So we're like, well, we don't want to do anything original because we don't want to compete with that. Why don't we do this crazy idea? So we went and we recorded Britney Spears, NSYNC, and Boys to Men, all done Americana.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so that's out there if you want to see it. It's kind of crazy.
So are you releasing that as physical copies and downloads, or is it just downloads?
Right now it's downloads, but we'll eventually print one. I think we'll probably do like 3 more and then put out a disc of like 5 or 6 songs.
Okay.
I think that'll make it more worthwhile for everybody.
Right. That's awesome. That's awesome. So as an independent artist, how important is it to fill in the gaps between your main albums with EPs or smaller releases like that? Yeah,
I think it's important, especially because a lot of the way we support ourselves is by being on the road and selling merch and selling CDs, and people have shorter attention spans these days, and they are constantly craving new content. So, in a world where people are looking for the next single or looking for the next big video, as an independent artist without major radio support, that's not an option. So our version of that is to release an EP. So we have a big record every couple of years and then an EP or 2 in between that kind of keep giving content to our fans and testing out new directions. We can explore a different sound for a few songs, see how it resonates with people, and kind of go from there.
Right, that's great.
Yeah.
I noticed on your website you have a fan club, more traditional fan club. You also have something called The Collective.
Yeah.
What is The Collective?
The Collective is something I started right when I graduated college, and I knew I wanted to jump full-time into music, but I was in that catch-22 that I feel like most musicians get into, where you want to do it full-time, but you can't afford to live, so you get a part-time job, but then you can't do it full-time, and it's this cycle that repeats.
Sure.
And I'm kind of a fan of Malcolm Gladwell's 10,000 hours thing. I think in order to get to the top and be the best at what you do, you have to put 10,000 hours in. In order to do that, you have to do it full-time. So The Collective was a way that I got fans to invest in my career right from the start. And they get free tickets to shows, free music. They get a vote in all the decisions I make that are big. So they've picked all my album artwork for every EP or full length. They've given suggestions on what they think the single should be, where they think we should tour if we're not hitting there. And if I get any bigger decisions along the way, like if we are lucky enough to have a big label or something approach, then you say, okay, hey, what do you guys think? This is it, And it's been really powerful because we had an example of an album art where I'm like giving 4 examples, and I'm certain that example 1 is the one that everyone's going to pick, and then 95% of everyone picks example 3. And you're like, well, I guess I got to follow what fans want,
Right.
And that's cool. So, now I did that before Kickstarter and any of those things existed, and now there's platforms like that and Patreon, which are amazing, and people can do that and kind of create their own versions of it, which is cool. And I still have mine, and it works, and now that allowed me to just jump into touring full time that first year, and now it's sort of evolved into a fan club with a say and a vote and a more power to it. An advisory board almost.
Right. Yeah, so. What a great idea. Great idea.
Thanks, man.
So in addition to your touring and releasing albums, it appears to me that one of your main focuses is songwriting.
Absolutely.
And there was a quote, I think, where you said you had written somewhere like 150 songs in 1 year, and through the years you've written hundreds of songs.
Yeah.
On the well, first of all, talk a little bit about that. How did you get into songwriting, and how do you approach that?
Yeah, well, I started writing in high school, and my writing's evolved over the years. It started off more, I would say, groove-based, trying to put together songs that I knew would please people live and make them want to dance. And then I kind of reached a crossroads a few albums ago where half the album was that, half the album was more lyric-focused. And then I just noticed every time or every show, fans would come up and request songs that had more powerful or lyrics that just connected to people, or talk that were a little more emotionally heavy or thoughtful, I guess.
Sure.
So that was sort of my shift of like, oh, okay, I think this is the direction I need to be going. And then when I moved to Nashville about 3 years ago, it's when before then I was probably writing 20 to 40 songs a year. And then when I moved to Nashville, the town is just all about the song, and it's all about pushing yourself. You can go there and you think you have the best songs ever, and then you sit down and you just get humbled immediately.
Right.
And I meet people all the time like, oh, I'm going to move to Nashville and sell a song, and you're like, okay, cool, but you don't realize that to do that, don't sell a song, but if you want someone to cover your song, it has to get through like 20 people of filters before it even gets to the artist, and every single one of those people has to think it's an undeniably great song. And now that artist doesn't sell very many CDs anymore, that song has to sell more tickets for them, so it has to be a hit. And so that's a whole new world. So now you go, okay, I can't just write good songs anymore, I have to write great songs. And in Nashville, everyone wants to collaborate too, which is really cool. So I started co-writing when I moved there. I think that's really what caused my growth spurt in songs, where you go in and you write a song in 3 or 4 hours, and before I'd sit there and I'd get distracted by Facebook and TV, and it would take me a week to write the same song.
Right.
And you push each other, you don't settle for a lyric that you would have before, and it just causes your songs to get better, your lyrics to get better, and you just become more efficient. And the last couple of years, it's been 100, 150 songs a year.
Wow. So out of those 100, 150, are you finishing all of them? Are they somewhere you're starting and you're saying, that's not going where I want, and these are the 10 I'm going to really focus on?
Yeah, I would say typically it kind of splits into 3 categories for me. It's songs for me as an artist, songs that I think about for another country artist, or songs that I'm writing more for like film and TV and licensing. And so typically out of those, say 100, say there's 50 in each, we take that 50 of my artists, and then we take that batch into the producer, and they're all work tapes on my phone, and then we sit down with the producer and we pick out the 10 from that 50 that we think are going to do it.
I see.
And then the film and TV side, we'll demo out with a producer and make those, because they're going to end up being pitched in a different way. Or the 50 for country, then we say the 10 that have the most potential, and then we demo those out on a next level of production that could almost be finished, because a lot of times that's going to make someone really hear what you're going for. If you just send them a work tape of guitar and vocal, chances are that it's not going to get really latched onto. But if you send them a full out production and all they got to do is swap their voice into it, your chances are better.
Interesting. Because you'd always heard that all you need is an acoustic guitar and a voice, right? Not that way anymore.
Maybe if you're Shane McAnally or Laurie McKenna and you have a plethora of number ones already, and Kenny Chesney or Tim McGraw, and you can text him that work tape, then that works. But if you're somebody that has never been heard of, you don't have a number one hit yet, you got to put your best step forward every time.
Right, right. I would think it would be different from your personal standpoint, collaborating on songs that are going to end up being used by you versus songs that you're trying to pitch to someone else.
Absolutely, and I think that's one of the most powerful things about Nashville, and I tell it to a lot of friends that move to town as artists. At the very least, Nashville can be an overwhelming place because it's just everyone's trying to do what you're doing. But at the very least, you can utilize all the songwriting talent there to make yourself better. And you can walk into a writing session and say, I want this song to be for me. Here's what I'm feeling right now. And then you can channel, someone else's writing chops with yours and make a great tune for you. When you might have just had this idea and it would have been good, but they brought something else to it, a melody that you couldn't have thought of, or
Right.
And that's pretty cool.
Right. New options.
Yeah, and I think that excites people too, because so many people in Nashville right now are stuck in the rut of having to write that song that's going to be number one on country radio, which is they're all fairly similar. It's that power pop country, and they're all trying to do it because that's the thing that's going to pay. An album cut's not going to pay. And with the way streaming royalties are set up right now, the songwriters are kind of getting left behind. So you kind of got to go for that home run. So when someone like me walks in and we're independent and we're still selling CDs out there, and we can say, I want to write this song that's lyrically driven or this, and they have the chops for it, they just don't get to use them that often, so it can excite people too.
I bet, yeah. It was interesting to me that on All American Mutt, you have pretty much a different collaborator on each song.
Yep.
Yet the album, despite all the diverse influences and styles that you've bring to the table, it still sounds cohesive.
Yeah.
How do you manage that?
Well, I think that's where it kind of comes into, you write a lot of songs and then you try to find the ones that have a tie together. And it also comes into production too, but really at the foundation, it's writing with people that know me and know what I'm trying to go for, and that can kind of get behind that as we're writing. And I think I love writing with new people and do it all the time, but I have a core group of writers that I like to go to for my own stuff because I know they really get what I'm trying to do too.
Right, right. Do you ever have situations where you go into a collaboration and it just doesn't work?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Sometimes you're sitting there staring at the wall for a while, but usually you can get something done, and you get something done, and then you just realize it doesn't work. But
right.
You know, it's just like anything. You know, you go to a venue and think it's going to be good, and some venues are great, and some venues are misses, and you hone what's good accordingly. And the longer you do it, the more you figure out what your best collaborators are, or what you look for in a writer, and that kind of stuff too.
Right, right.
So. Yeah.
I've talked to some composers and songwriters, and there's kind of two different things. There's the songs that come out of inspiration and the songs that come out of craft.
Yep.
And you would think the inspiration ones are going to be the ones that are the killers.
Right.
But that's not always the case, is it?
No, for sure. It tends to be a combination. I mean, also it depends what you're going for. I think that sometimes the just straight craft lowest common denominator is something that is going to end up hitting biggest, but that may have the best chances for getting played on the radio, but the thing that bears your soul emotionally is the thing that makes someone come up to you at a show and say how it changed their life. And that really at the core is why we all play music or do this. And so yeah, that's why it's, at least for me, I'm always trying to find that balance on a record. I want a few songs that can maybe have a chance to catch a spark and get out there big, and then a few songs that are, more intimate or soul-bearing, and hopefully can connect with someone that way.
Right, right. How much of that songwriting process is based on music theory, music knowledge, that kind of thing, versus working by ear?
For me, it's almost all ear. I don't have a ton of theory training. I studied voice for a long time, but I actually like writing on new instruments or things that I don't play often, because you just hear the same chords differently and melodies pop out of it. But I'm definitely a heavily lyric-driven writer, and have what I call a hook book of notes, just a mile long of phrases that I hear, and I just write them down. And as I sit down in a writing session with somebody, and we kind of go through, like, hey, what do you think about this line? And then if that resonates, then we kind of build off that. And,
right.
Or it's a melody that pops into my head while I'm driving, down the middle of Highway 65, and I need to remember it, so I pull up the voice memos and record it there.
Right. Capture it anywhere you can.
Right.
Otherwise you lose it.
Yeah. Right. And then you can come back to it, and ideally, if I'm in front of a guitar, then if that channel opens up, you just sit down and do it. But if you can't, then you can at least save it for later.
Right. So in addition to the recording workshop, you're also doing a performance tonight on behalf of Bose.
Yep, absolutely.
Tell us what's happening with that.
Yeah, we're playing tonight. My full band through some new Bose gear through the F1s, which are their great new system for full bands. I've also been touring for almost 5 years behind this L1 system right here. It's honestly one of my favorite sound systems out there, and for so many reasons, we're able to fit 4 guys, all of our gear, in 2 of these L1 systems in our van. Nice. Without towing a trailer. They break into 4 pieces. You can carry them in and out. You can do band Tetris really easily, so you can fit them into different spots. And then the powerful thing is that they're both monitors and mains, so you can put it behind your mic and it doesn't feed back. So it's just so much less gear that you need.
Right.
And man, it just sounds amazing. It has that Bose sparkle. It's got the T1, so we have it all dialed in. We have our settings saved. I like to put a little slapback delay on my voice. You can do that. You can tune your guitar in it. And the crazy thing too is, over the years, I feel like since we've used them so much, we've just pushed the limits on how we can use them in really cool ways. And my bass player actually now uses an L1 system for his upright bass as an amp. And the tone on it is unbelievable. We get people every show that come up and they're like, are you using that system for your amp? And he's like, yep.
Nice.
And it's just, especially with the B2, with the big bass module, it's got clarity, it's got bottom end, it's pretty cool.
Right.
And honestly, Bose has also been one of, as an independent musician, since I don't have a label and I don't have a manager, I don't have a booking agent, I do everything myself. So the the team that I really have that's helped build me and push me to the next level has been partners in different ways, and Bose has been one of those since the beginning. And they've helped support tours. They've put me together with other artists that have become some of my strongest collaborators, and we did a Bose Troubadour tour with 4 writers in the round across the country.
Nice.
So that's both as sound and as a partner. They're just a really cool company supporting independent music in a way that a lot of people aren't. So.
Right.
Yeah.
Nice. So what's next? You're touring through December, right?
Yep, touring through December. Then usually in the wintertime, I kind of pull back a little bit and focus on writing for the next project. Mm-hmm. So that's what I'll probably do there. I'm also, I got a really cool thing in the works. I partner with a company called First Note Play, and we're building a regional tour. To me, everything always shoots forward and then comes back, especially in the music industry. It was a singles industry, became an album industry, now it's becoming a singles industry again. And to me, one of the most powerful things that ever existed was the road shows, where Elvis and Johnny Cash and Jerry Lee Lewis would go out with one band and take over a town for a week,
right.
Play in high school auditoriums and just really just invest in a city and just take it over. And so I'm working to build that, and with a few artist friends, and we're going to go with my band as the backing band in this company First Note Play, and we're just going to take over cities. We're going to start in the Southeast and grow it from there, but really just invest in a city, partner with schools, and grow it that way organically. And I think it's going to be kind of cool.
Nice. It sounds like fun.
It's like the circus is coming to town, but,
right.
but for music. Yeah.
Right. That's great.
Yeah, man.
Well, congratulations on all your success. We're just thrilled to have you here. Looking forward to the show tonight. Lots of great stuff.
Absolutely. Thanks for all your support. Sweetwater was the best.
Absolutely. My pleasure.
Thanks, Mitch.
Great to meet you.
You too, man.
And thank you for joining me for the Sweetwater Minute. I'm Mitch Gallagher.